Good morning class. Please open up to page number 35. Today we are going to learn about Buddhism. Buddhism catered to religious striving of the time. It was a midway between Hinduism and Jainism, meaning to say that some of the rites, RITES, and the doctrines, teachings were taken from Hinduism while some were taken from Jainism. Buddhism presented the ascetic traditions to Indian society, leading a simple, austere and spiritual life. It had more followers abroad than in India. Buddhism is one of the imprints that India has left on other civilizations. That is the impact of Buddhism. The background and causes for the rise of Jainism and Buddhism have already been presented earlier in this chapter that we have already studied. Now let us look at the life of the founder of Buddhism, Gautam Buddha. Gautam Buddha was the founder of Buddhism. He belonged to the Kshatriya clan of Shakya dynasty. According to one legend, he was born in 563 BC at Lumbini near Kapilavastu in Nepal. His childhood name was Siddhartha. His father Shuddhodhan was the ruler of Kapilavastu. Like Mahavir, he was inclined from his childhood towards spiritual pursuits. All the royal luxuries in which Gautam lived had no effect on him. He was married at a young age to a princess called Yashodhara and had a son named Rahul. The great renunciation, meaning to say the giving up. Why it is called great? Let us see. Once Gautam's charioteer was driving him through the town. The appearance of an old man bent with age moved Gautam. Again, the sight of a sick man groaning with pain was pathetic. The dead body of a man being carried for cremation made Gautam think about man's destiny. He was consoled when he saw an ascetic in search of salvation, a hermit or a sage who was looking for salvation, where he was looking for God and what life was actually all about. He knew that all materialistic things did not have much importance in life. They did not satisfy man in the true sense. These sights are known as the four great sights. Gautam left home, his wife and the child in order to find a solution. This event is known as Mahabhishkraman or the Great Renunciation. Now, talk about enlightenment. Enlightenment is gaining of knowledge or coming to know the truth. After leaving home in search of truth, Gautam wandered from place to place. For some time, he studied under renowned teachers of Rajgriha and then went to Gaya. He was looking for God, the Almighty, looking for salvation, looking for the ultimate peace. He practiced severe penance and led a life of extreme austerity. Very harsh life he led. Finally, at the age of 35, Gautam attained enlightenment at Bodh Gaya in Bihar. From then onwards, he began to be called the Buddha or the Enlightened One. Next, we are going to study about Dharma Chakra Parivartan. At the place where Buddha got enlightenment, a temple known as Mahabodhi Temple was constructed later. The peepal tree is now referred to as the Mahabodhi tree. Buddha was also called the Tathagat or the founder of truth. After the enlightenment, he embarked on preaching his religion. He delivered his first sermon at the Deer Park in Sarnath near Varanasi in the presence of 5 ascetics. This event in the history of Buddhism is known as Dharma Chakra Parivartan or the turning of the wheel of sacred law. Sacred law because we are talking about in search of the ultimate truth or salvation. Now Buddha's fame spread far and wide. For another 40 years he travelled all over the country spreading the message. He established a Bodh Sangh or Bodh Sangha, that is the Sangh Buddhist order at Magadh. He had a large number of followers including the rulers of Magadh, Koshala and Koshambi. His disciples were from all classes of society. Like in Jainism, we learned that most of the followers of Jainism were the Kshatriya clan. But here we see that his disciples came from all sections of the society. Gautam Buddha in his last years went to Kushinagar, which is near Gorakhpur district in Uttar Pradesh. He obtained Mahaparinirvan at the age of 80 in 483 BC at Kushinagar. His disciples took his sacred remains to 8 different places where huge mounds called stupas were erected. Now let us see the teachings of Buddhism. Buddha followed a simple path and inspired people to lead a simple life. Simplicity in all its glory was the main teaching of Buddhism. His teachings have been reconstructed from stories found mainly in the Sutta Pitaka. His message to people was that the world is full of sufferings, and a man could attain salvation by following his teachings contained in the eightfold path and 4 noble truths. So first we will look at the 4 noble truths. What they are. They are the essence of Buddhism. What Buddhism as a religion stands for. That the world is full of suffering and all sufferings have a cause, and desire. See, there is no end to our desires, and this is the root cause of all the suffering of a human being. And Buddhism, it preached that if desire is stopped, controlled, suffering can also be stopped. Now let us look at the eightfold path. The way to Nirvana, or that is salvation, in Buddhism, or the path that leads to removal of suffering. What is salvation? It is removal of suffering. Is known as the eightfold path. Ashtangika Marg, or the middle path. It is a path which is midway between luxurious living and hard penance. It includes right action, that is to remain away from theft, luxuries and violence. Right thought, to remain away from empty rituals and worldly evils. Right belief, that is to give up desire. Right living, not to have dishonest dealings with others. Right speech, speak the truth and do not think ill of others. Right effort, work for deliverance from sins and for the welfare of others. So these are the eightfold paths, and earlier we learnt about the 4 noble truths. Now see children, you can see that certain portions of the content are underlined, so please you also do so, and all these are important. As for class 9, we will not rely on the question answers which are given at the back of the chapter. You have to learn from in between the book. Now, 7th is right recollection. Think about pious things. 8th is right meditation. Concentrate on only what is right. Now, attitude towards God. Buddha held that the whole universe was controlled by dharma, a universal law. He was silent about the existence of God, though he never formally denied it. Like Mahavir, he emphasized on non-violence. So Buddha did not believe that there is an Almighty, the omnipresent and the omniscience, but he did believe that the whole universe is controlled by dharma, which is a universal law. Now, the code of conduct, and which Buddha formulated for his followers, we'll take up in the next video. So please, whatever we have learned today, studied today, you go through it again. The 4 noble truths are very important. The eightfold path, you should know it by heart. Enlightenment, all these things you already know because you have learned about in your English text, Hindi text, you have been learning about Buddhism and Jainism. The great renunciation, all these things are very important. Please go through the entire thing once again, and if there is something which is not clear to you and you have not understood, that you will take up later, we will take up later in the class. Thank you.